On November 11th, 1918, the armistice to end World War I was signed. Countries rejoiced as 4 years of war were finally over, but not everyone was happy. Hello everyone, welcome back to Remember in Action, a show where we look into the lives of the soldiers who gave their life for their country. Today we're looking at Henry Nicholas John Gunther, part of the 313th Infantry Regiment. Him and his infantry only arrived in Europe in June 1918, and most likely only saw combat in the Meuse-Argonne offensive. Henry, alongside his fellow soldiers, fought until the very end on November 11th. Let's dive into it. The Meuse-Argonne offensive was the final major World War I campaign, stretching from September 26th to November 11th, 1918. The goal was to break through the German lines and force an end to the conflict. By early November, however, Allied forces knew that the war would soon be over. On November 11th, 1918, at 5:10 a.m., the armistice was finally signed. After years of brutal warfare, it was finally over. However, for the soldiers in the front lines, this final morning was just as deadly as any other. From the signing of the armistice at 5:10 a.m. to 11 a.m., there was around 10,944 casualties, 2,738 of which were deaths. Among these soldiers was Henry. Despite the impending ceasefire, the 313th was ordered to advance, and since orders were orders, the fighting continued up until the very last minute. The morning of November 11th, around 9:30 a.m., began like many others, with heavy artillery barrage. Henry and his comrades knew that the armistice was imminent, but the orders were clear: continue the advance. The 313th Infantry Regiment was tasked with pushing forward against the German positions near Chaumont-devant-Villers. Despite the impending end of war, the fighting was fierce. German machine guns raked the advancing American troops, and shells exploded all around. It was during this chaotic push that Henry Gunther's moment came. As the clock ticked closer to 11 a.m., Henry's unit encountered a German roadblock. With determination and bravery, Henry charged ahead, attempting to overrun the enemy position. Despite being ordered to hold back, he pressed forward. The Germans, who were being charged at, tried to warn Henry by shooting in the air and waving him off, saying in broken English that the war would soon be over. Just 1 minute before the armistice took effect, at 10:59 a.m., the Germans, realizing that Henry would not stop, shot him with a small burst of machine gun fire. Henry was killed instantly, and he is widely considered the last American to die in World War I. It is unknown why he chose to charge at the Germans, knowing that the war would soon be over. But the closest guess is from his friends, who told a reporter afterwards that Henry felt dejected after he was demoted from sergeant to private, and so he wanted to prove himself in the final minutes of war. Henry Gunther's death, so close to the end of the war, is a poignant reminder of the senselessness of conflict and bravery of those who fight. Thank you for joining me today at looking at Henry Gunther's story. If you liked what you saw or like World War I in general, please consider liking, subscribing, and sharing, as that would mean a lot to me. That is all for now. See you next week.